All right, our next guest on the Marlins Hot Stove Show tonight is the Marlins bench coach. He is the right-hand man to the National League Manager of the Year, Skip Schumacher. It is Luis Pipe to the Hispanic players, Pipe to the American players. Urueta joining us on the Marlins Hot Stove Show tonight. Pipe, there's so much I want to get into you with. We have a limited amount of time, and I know the coaching staff is such a humble group of guys, and you're all really fun to be around. Skip doesn't want to talk about himself. He only wants to talk about you guys and give you guys credit. I'd love to start by asking you tonight, though, how deserving you thought Skip was of winning National League Manager of the Year and what he meant for this team last year.
Yeah, how you doing, guys? Thanks for having me. And absolutely deserving. I think Skip did everything to win that award. Not only because of the results that we had as a team, what kind of manager he was the whole year. Rookie manager coming in. I always said as a super prepared guy. Attention to all the details possible to manage a ball club, and I think what he did with this club, it was amazing. It was amazing, and I'm sure that he will turn into one of the best managers in the league in the future. He already is. So I'm super excited, super happy to for him and to be part of his staff as well.
Hey, Pipe, good to see you. Why do you think this staff meshed so well? Why do you think it clicked very well this year?
I think he did a great job putting together people that he already knew from the past and people that he had an experience with, and also people that he heard from. I didn't have a personal relationship with Skip in the past, just from the opposite dugout when he moved to San Diego. But I think he trusted who he knew. I think he trusted people that talked to him about other staff members, and we all clicked. I think when we got to spring training, it was a challenge. We were all new, coming in an organization. New manager, new coaching staff, getting to know players. But I think we had a good spring. Despite the results, I remember that we got in a funk where we couldn't win a game, but we're still bonding as a staff, and the players saw that. I always think that a good clubhouse is a reflection of a coaching staff, of a good coaching staff, and our friendship, the relationship that we built throughout that month, I think it set the tone for a good season.
Pipe, it's funny you said spring training. Couldn't win a game in spring last year. Jim Leyland, who just got inducted into the Hall of Fame yesterday, said back in '97 when they won the World Series, they were like 26-5 in the spring. He was praying they were going to lose games because a single A player would come hit a grand slam in the ninth inning, and they were winning every spring training game. It's just funny because, it's too different. Like, oh my gosh, can we win a spring game? And back in the day, they're like, can we lose one? Hey, so let me ask you this, Pipe. Because, it's interesting. The bench coach is somebody nobody ever really hears from, right? Things are not going well. It's the manager that has to go to the microphone. It's such a thankless job, and you are the eyes and ears for Skip. I wouldn't say what's the most difficult part of your job, but what's maybe the part of the job that people don't see? It's like, man, this guy does so much to keep this thing on the tracks every night.
I think staying positive, to be honest with you, Kyle. When those moments happen, which happen, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like after the break, we weren't good. It was tough for us. We lost momentum, and those times where that's happening, I think you gotta stay positive. And people get negative. People start losing hope and start being negative, and you gotta stay positive. And don't get me wrong, like Skip was positive the whole year, but there are moments where you gotta bring him up, lift him up. The coaching staff, the players, the front office, everybody. So I think since you're not the guy that's in front of the mic talking to media or answering questions, you gotta stay positive. And that's exactly what we did. Not only myself, John Jay, Griffin, Rod Barajas, everybody, even Mel, even everybody, I think stayed positive when we most needed it. So saying it is the most difficult thing, maybe not, but it's something that you have to keep in mind throughout the year.
I want to get into the nitty gritty with this answer, because a lot of times when Skip talked about you, he would always say that you've always had his blind spots. What does that mean? How did you have his blind spots? What were the blind spots that you had?
I think when it comes down to playing time, roles, guys start to get a little bit grumpy about what's happening in the year. Like you have to cover those moments and those blind spots. Skip's got a lot on his plate, and you gotta take those battles for him, and not let him affect what he's doing as a manager. Did it happen? Maybe few of them, of course. Like they're always going to happen some of those cases, but I think they were handled the right way. And I think, to be honest with you, that Skip being a former bench coach, he knew what was going on, and he also like took those battles at times, and he handled them himself. So that's why I'm saying like he's a super prepared manager. He's got a bench coach background, he's got a first base coach background. Obviously, he's got a player background, bench player background. So he knew exactly what was going on throughout the year in the clubhouse. So maybe I thought there were going to be more blind spots than they were, because to be honest with you, Skip, he's covered a lot of things that usually a bench coach does. But yeah, those are the things that I'm always trying to look for and not affect the chemistry and the atmosphere in the clubhouse.
Pipe, from the people that I've spoken to and from what I hear in the media, I hear you're going to be a great manager one day. Is that humbling to hear that? What do you make of that when I say that and you hear that maybe publicly?
It's nice to hear, but I always say that I take every year and every position that I have in baseball one at a time. I really don't focus on the future. It's kind of cool to know that people think that about me. But I think right now it's me, and which we accomplished. I told Skip when I got the job, I said, my job is to make you the best manager possible. And he was. So that kind of makes me feel good. When we got eliminated in Philly, I told him that. I say, Skip, listen, like, you're going to run for the manager of the year. Probably you're going to win it. And I'm super proud of that, because like, that's part of my job. My job is to make you that person, that manager, who you are right now. So
I have a fun question for you, because speaking of having your managers back, there's a couple times that Skip lost his temper a little bit, and there's times where you followed behind, specifically in San Francisco, maybe a couple times in New York. What are you doing at that point? What are you saying? Are you telling Skip to calm down, or are you going out there to give a little sense to the umpire? Yeah, you were wrong. Give us like a little bit of a behind the scenes trying to cover that.
Yeah. First of all, you go out there just to first of all, you're supporting obviously his argument, but at the same time, you don't want it to go farther, and you want to keep him safe, obviously. And there was one time when I went there. I do remember that while he was arguing a call, I was on the phone making sure that he was right, and he was. So when I went out there, I told him, I say something. It was kind of like go to replay or whatever, and he didn't like it. He didn't like it. He's like, let me handle it. Let me handle it. So yeah, you always gotta know the personality, know how far he can go, and I think the way Skip handled umpires this year, it was awesome. Like, he never went too far. He went far enough when he had to, and when he was right and he had a point. And then just his relationship with umpires was super good. So I kind of learned from that too. You kind of learn as the season goes and progress, like how he's gonna handle those type of situations and how much you have to like get in the way when he's out there. So, but I think it went well. Other than that day, I learned my lesson. I'm like, okay, he's got it. I'm gonna let him do his thing. So it was pretty good.
Did you get invited to helping put on the tarp in New York, or was that a solo job?
That was a good one too. I was there. I remember Kim was there. I'm looking at Kim like, hey, what do we do here now? And he got pretty upset. And he had all the, he was right. He was right about it. That was a tough series, a tough start of the series. We were, happy that we ended up like getting the best of it in that last game with a big hit of Yuli, and the game that never ended, and we ended up losing in paper. Yep. But I think it brought us some momentum for us to go to Pittsburgh and ended up clinching. But yeah, that was a good moment, a good memory when he got super upset and he got on the ground screw guy. So it was funny.
We've got just a couple of more minutes with Pipe. I will say, by the way, Pipe, a playoff push is stressful, but it shouldn't have been as stressful from afar watching you guys go through that with everything happening down the stretch. It was crazy. We going back to New York. We hopping on a bird, go to New York to finish a game. I was insane. It also, I guess it, you know, it really made the whole thing a little bit sweeter down the stretch when you guys ultimately get into the playoffs. Just a couple of more minutes, and I want to switch gears a little bit. A lot of people think that there's an offseason in baseball. For you, there's not, because you're in the Dominican Republic. You're the general manager of a winter league team down there, and your manager is Wellington Cepeda, known more and better to maybe Marlins fans as Beef. He is the manager of the team. What's that dynamic like? And for you, I mean, baseball never stops, man. You got to love this thing.
Yeah, my wife doesn't, but I do. And yeah, again, we got eliminated in Philly, and I got on a bird the next day to go to the DR. You know, I've been working with Beef for so long. Like, we were former Diamondback players, former minor league coaches with the Diamondbacks. And then he was a pitching coach. I was a manager this is my 8th year in the Dominican, and we were together in Licey, another club, for 4 years, and now we're here together in Gigantes, and I got the opportunity to be the GM. Obviously, who a better person than give the team to Beef, and he's doing a great job. You know, we're down there grinding. We had a couple of Marlins players. We had Dane Myers. He was with us. Unfortunately, he's done for the year over there. He needs to rest, go back home. He's gonna have a baby pretty soon here. Okay. But it's a good experience, Kyle, and I keep doing it because I love the game. Because it's a way also for me to keep developing as a baseball man. Whatever the area is, now I'm in the office, seeing the game from a different perspective, which it helps. You know, now you understand how the front office thinks, how the coaching staff sees the game in a different way. So I hope I'm back in Miami pretty soon. Probably maybe spend the holidays with my family and then go back to finish the season down there. But it's nonstop, like you say. It's 12 months a year.
Take us away, Steven. Take us out of here, brother.
No, I just want to know how Dane Myers looked. I'm excited about him this year.
Yeah,
he did awesome. He did great. Played center field, corners. I think that experience is going to be good for him. He needed it, but he's played the whole year, man. I mean, it's been a long season for him, so he needed a rest. Now the season's starting to get hotter, and as far as like competition and environment, but he was there for almost a month and a half, so
yep.
Which is good. So you know, we saw what he did for us here in during the season. So hopefully he can come up again and contribute for the team.
Pipe, thank you so much for joining us. It was such a fun ride to watch you guys in 2023. If we had another hour, I'd preview 2024 with you, but we don't. So enjoy the rest of the winter meetings, and we'll see you in Jupiter soon.
Thanks,
All right,
Pipe.
guys.